Hello, welcome to the Monday, November 7th edition of the OK Preps Extra podcast. I'm Patrick Prince, joined as always by Barry Lewis, Dean Ruhl. And it's playoff week, guys. So let's talk a little playoffs and let's do some picks. Let's just get right into it and start with 6A1. Barry, your pick, 6A1, who you got?
Well, I reserved my right to change my pick when our pick between now and when our weekly high school picks box appears in Friday's paper, where we will list where everyone in the panel lists all their champions. So with that being said, for right now, my instinct is still Bixby, even though I've got Union ranked number one.
Despite the loss, Barry, are they just still the best team? And
I still feel very highly about Bixby. Although their loss definitely opens things up. Now I think there's like four teams that possibly could beat them or 4 or 5 teams could possibly beat them if everything broke right. But right now I'm still going to give Bixby the edge.
Okay, and just to clarify, at the top of this, I said, we're going to do picks. We're talking state title winners. That's what we're talking about. So just to be clear on that. Okay, so Barry's 6A1, you got Bixby. Dean, 6A1, who do you like?
Yeah, I'm going to try my best throughout this as we go through each class to not pick the one Barry picks. So I'm going to go, just play a little devil's advocate. I'm going to go Union. Last weekend, Jinx showed everybody the blueprint to beat Bixby. At that point, it now comes down to execution. Union just top to bottom knows how to execute and win, and so I'm gonna give them the edge right here.
So for people who didn't see that game, the blueprint is what, Dean?
I think it's turnover free football, it's long drives, it's extending plays, it's all the you almost just want to call it just the textbook way to play football. And it's hard to do. If it was easy to do, everybody would do it, but it's hard to do. And for right now, I think Jinx did that, showed that Bixby's beatable, snapped the 58-game win streak, and Union's got a good chance to do that too.
All right, let's talk some sleepers. We'll stay with 6A1 for now. Barry, any team in 6A1 that you might see as a potential sleeper?
Well, I think for a lot of people, they would consider anybody but Union or Bixby. If you chose any of those other teams, they'd all be considered sleepers. Usually you wouldn't consider the 2-time defending champion Jinx as that, but it seems like many years going into the postseason that people are counting out Jinx, but yet they've been to the championship game 4 years in a row. Most people don't give them a chance to make it 5 in a row, and they've won the last 2 state titles. But so I think they showed last week they definitely have that potential. So even though many people would still consider them a sleeper, and then Norman North and Mustang, they're intriguing. One of these years, one of those could break through. And then you've got Owasso, which quietly has been playing a lot better football. They won 5 in a row. Never count out a Bill Blankenship coach team.
Yeah, absolutely. Dean?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with pretty much everything Barry said right there. I really like Norman North and the path they kind of have set up for them to reach the semifinals, I think, fairly easily. More than likely, you're probably looking at an Owasso game there in the quarterfinals, Norman North Owasso. I think if Norman North gets there, you're probably facing Union, and then if you can sneak one there, you're in the state championship game. I really think Norman North has a good path there, and Barry already hit on all the other ones, but Norman North is what I would say. Watch out.
Okay, let's move on down to 6A2. You got Stillwater number 1 at 10-0, and then the next 3 teams, Choctaw, Deer Creek, and Muskogee, are all 9-1. Barry, your 6A2 favorite.
Got to go with Stillwater. They convinced me last week. Did they convince you, Dean?
Well, I started this off saying, I'm going to try to not pick the one Barry picked, but that rule's already going to be broken here. Yeah, I like Stillwater. I like what they've done this year. I've got to see them play twice, each against top teams in Class 6A2, and Stillwater controlled both of those games. They look good. They play good. They're experienced. They're veteran, a lot of upperclassmen who contribute there. They got to be the favorite as of now.
So I won't call this a sleeper, but who's if you both agree that Stillwater is the favorite, who's the top contender below them?
Well, I think, is Booker T ever going to, it's now or never for Booker T. That's been the theme all year long. Can Booker T ever really fulfill its potential? And it's now or never. They've been they're ranked fifth, 6-4. They've lost really all their tough games. So they still have that potential.
You would say them over like a Muskogee, Barry?
No, we're separating over the from the top.
Oh, gotcha.
The rest of the pack. So
Fair enough. Okay, Dean, what do you think? 682 sleeper.
Yeah, it's Booker T here. When you look at the field, this is a top heavy class. Booker T has all the, we talk about this. I swear this is a comment every week for us. Just Booker T has all the assets. Can you get it to start moving? Not that it's not moving in the right direction, but can you really get it to gel and kind of gain some momentum down the stretch? Like Barry says, now's the time to do that if you're going to do it. I'd say, yeah, that's really all that excites. Sand Springs, they've got a great run game there. They could maybe cause some trouble up in that up in their little quadrant. But I'd really say Booker T's your sleeper. Sand Springs might have a chance to do something.
Okay, moving on to 5A. Top ranked Coweta, undefeated. Number 2, Grove, also undefeated. How do you guys see that class breaking down? Barry, you go first.
Wow. Dean and I can have quite a discussion on which game we think is the game of the week, because 5A has the chance to be really the wildest. Chance for some big upsets. I've got as the game of the week McAllister at Collinsville, a rematch of last year's state title. And Dean's got Sapulpa at Grove. You've got chances for upsets in both of these games. I think they're both toss-ups. Sapulpa's very dangerous team right now. They got Marco Smith back last week. He's dynamic. And so those are, definitely be on an upset watch in those games. But as far as the overall champion, gosh, who knows? It's wide open. Coweta's got to be the favorite right now, but I guess I'll go with Coweta. But beware of Midwest City Carl Albert.
Yeah, this class is so thick, and we talked about it all throughout the regular season, just how deep this goes. And I sat down last night I put some pen to paper flipping through some of these brackets, and 5A was by far the hardest to do that with. Coweta is the favorite right now. Just for the sake of arguing with Barry, I will say Carl Albert, to me, they've done it before. They've had that recent success you want in a playoff contender, and they're starting to hit their stride. So I kind of like them here. But yeah, this class is deep. There's all kinds of, if this were a March Madness bracket and you were filling this out like a March Madness bracket, it would be busted by come 10 p.m. Friday this week. This is just, there's so much talent here.
There really is. When we're talking about, I've got Sapulpa ranked 10th. And when I'm saying that, I think their game against Grove looks like a toss-up. Grove is number 2 and 10-0. That just shows you how deep this talent is. I don't even have Elgin ranked, and they've had a super year. 8-2. They came within 11 seconds beating Midwest City, which again is one of those sleeper teams to be wary of. There's 10 or 11 teams that I wouldn't be surprised, they could get to the state championship game.
Okay, 4A. We'll just keep going down the list here. 4A, Barry, who's your state title winner?
Well, I've been high in Cushing for the last 2 years. They were a disappointment last year in the playoffs, but I'm going to keep going with them. They just look like the closest thing to a juggernaut that 4A has. And for a sleeper, I'll go with Wagner, because you can never discount Wagner. A lot of people this year have said, well, what's wrong with Wagner? What's wrong with Wagner? So it reminds me in recent years when people ask the same thing at this time of the year about Jenks, and then all they do is get to the championship game. So Wagner's my sleeper. Cushing's my pick.
Dean?
I'm gonna have to break the rule again. This is Cushing's class to lose this year. They've looked great. When you've got the offensive talent they have, it's hard to say that as long as they just play their game, they're not going to win this. Sleeper, Barry has a good pick. Wagner's got, there's some intangibles you can look for in terms of a playoff sleeper. Recent success is one of those, and hitting your stride at the right time of the season is another. Wagner's doing both of those right now. I'm just going to have some fun, and I think it, like I said last week, I don't root for teams, I root for stories. What if McLean strung together some wins here? That'd be great. That'd be so incredible. So I'm going to go McLean as my sleeper. What's stopping them from winning a game or two here?
Probably Hilldale. But no, Dean's going to be telling us more about looking more at McLean, the football team, in this Friday's world. So look out for that, because we talked about how the community has really reached out and other teams have reached out to McLean. But we're going to talk about what McLean is actually doing on the field, which is really remarkable this year.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Barry. I was going to mention that too. Yep. So look forward to that one. That's Friday's paper, Barry.
Yes, and McLean qualified not as a fourth place finisher, but a third place finisher, which was really surprising. No one is picking them for third going into the season.
Mm-mm. All right, let's drop down to 3A. Talk about a class with a lot of local teams. How are we seeing that class, Barry?
I've got Lincoln ranked number 1. I'm going to give them the edge over Metro Christian. But again, both of these teams know what it takes to win state championships and get to the title game. For a sleeper, Heritage Hall is such a great legacy, great tradition. But no one's talking much about them. Can't overlook Heritage Hall. And then Berry Hill is a team that's intriguing to me. That's going to be quite a game at Verdigris this week. That's one of those, like, Verdigris is playing a tougher than normal fourth place district finisher. So look at Berry Hill could surprise some people. And then of course there's Cassia Hall, which they're going to be in the playoffs for the 36th year in a row. So you wouldn't think they'd be a sleeper. No one's really talking about them much. I don't know. I've got a bit of a hunch about Cassia Hall, but again, they've got a really tough first round game against Muldrow. So we talked about how loaded 5A is. 3A isn't as loaded quite as 5A, but it's pretty loaded.
Dean, 3A, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go a little off the wall here. I'm going to say Verdigris is going to win state. After seeing them play, they look great. I think a run game is super important come this time of year, and they've got it. They've got two guys who are more than capable there. Sleeper wise, give me Holland Hall. Why not? I really like what they've done, and they've hit, again, I can say it for just about every class and who I pick as my sleeper, but they're hitting the stride at the right time. They've got the recent playoff success. They've got experienced guys. They know how to get these close playoff games done and get a win. So yeah, I'll go Holland Hall as my sleeper here.
Yeah, Holland Hall's won 5 in a row. That's they basically had to run the table after starting 0-5 to get to the playoffs. I was very impressed how they handled, got the job done last week at J, which was, they're a very capable team. That was a really tough district. And Holland Hall's just back to playing Holland Hall football. So again, this is a district where I don't have Holland Hall ranked. I think you've got 10 or 11 teams that any one of them are capable of getting to the state championship game. And remember, at the first of the year, Verdigris was our pick to get to win it. Everything seemed to be aligning for them. And if they can get past Berry Hill, which I think is a really tough matchup, I think, I wouldn't be surprised either if they got to the championship game.
Well, and you called it, Barry. I asked you, when Holland Hall was having their struggles, I said, do they make the playoffs? Yes or no, weeks ago. And you said, yes. You were pretty emphatic, and you turned out to be 100% correct. They went on a nice run, and here they are in the playoffs. All right. You've alluded to it a little bit, guys, as we've gone through these classes, but which game in your minds has the most potential for an upset? a lot of potential upset. What's the game that you could really see an upset happening here in the first week of the playoffs? Barry, what do you got?
I guess it would be talking about it would be how do you define upset? Like, I think technically McAllister, because it's a third place finisher, that would be an upset over Collinsville, a second place finisher, and Collinsville hosting. But I'm only going to consider 1 versus 4 matchups in this. Where
Okay.
and that's Sapulpa and Grove. I've just got to. That is going to be a really tough one for Grove. I mean, as good as Grove has looked, and they really have looked good. But Sapulpa, I think the win over McAllister was a really pivotal moment for them. And then they get Marco Smith back last week. I like them a lot. Now it's tough to win at Grove. It's going to be a long trip for Sapulpa, but I think Sapulpa's a very dangerous team.
You know what? We went into the upsets before we did Class 2A, so we'll come back to that. If only I'd written some notes here to go over. Oh, wait, I did. I just didn't look at them. Okay, Dean, same question. We'll come back to 2A. Same question to you. Who's on upset watch, Dean?
Oh, Barry took mine. That's the one I pinned as our game of the week, or as my game of the week, because Barry outlined it perfectly why that game's going to be so important. And it's just kind of crazy that you've got a Sapulpa, we're talking about a Grove team that went undefeated, routed Collinsville, and they might not escape the first round, which is crazy that we're even listening to that debate. But here we are. So flipping that back through here, though, I think you do have some upset ability in some of these 4 and 3A brackets. We touched on McLean already. I think they could beat Hilldale. Other than that, I would say Sapulpa Grove's the game to watch. You've got some other ones. Muldrow could maybe beat Cassia Hall. Barry, I don't know what you think about that, but
I think that's a toss-up. I think Muldrow's very capable of winning, and that is a very deep class.
All right, let's go back to 2A that we skipped over. The top 2 teams, Washington and Rejoice Christian. They've been 1-2 all year. Washington 1, Rejoice 2. Both are 10-0. Barry, how do you see 2A going?
Washington and Rejoice. I think those are definitely the 2 favorites. I mean, it's amazing how Rejoice has kept rolling at such a high level, even after losing Chance Wilson. So Cale Marley, wow, what a job he's done filling in at quarterback. But then again, this is a tricky class because who would have ever thought Beggs would be playing at Rejoice in the first round? I mean, I thought that could be like a semifinal or final potential preview when the teams met earlier this season and Rejoice routed Beggs. I keep on waiting for Beggs to be better, to show up better than it has. And then you've got Victory Christian against Pawhuska. I mean, we're talking about upsets going into 2A. That could be a very much an upset alert situation when you've got Pawhuska and Todd Drummond against Victory. So, but I think there's very clearly it's Washington or Rejoice. If I have to pick a team, I'll go with Rejoice.
Dean, who do you like?
I'll counter Barry there. I'll say Washington. Those 2 teams are neck and neck right now, in my opinion, in terms of taking a state title. Sleeper though, Barry's onto something with his Pawhuska pick there. Todd Drummond's a great quarterback. He can, he's got all the intangibles you want there in terms of trying to make a run. A game that really interests me in this 2A bracket, Kiefer and Veneta. I think that could be you can put it in the toss-up category. I think that's just going to be a good game.
Very good game. I totally agree. I mean, that's sort of like an under the radar, really good game.
And we could see the return of Chance Wilson this Friday. He's kind of gone through some PT and had some updates, checkups with his doctors, and he's kind of been targeting the first round of the playoffs since he got hurt. So he said he'll probably be a game time decision, but I think if all goes well this week in practice, I think his intentions will be to play on Friday. All right, guys, let's go to some final thoughts. Barry, 30 seconds to you.
All right. Well, congratulations to our student picker from last week, Rogers multi-sport athlete, Janae Wise. She was the only one of the 8 on the panel to pick Jenks to beat Bixby. She had a really good overall week of picking. She was 11-4, but she got the upset. So congratulations to her.
I'm glad you mentioned her, Barry, because I was earlier when we were talking about picks, I wanted to give her a shout out. So yeah, glad you mentioned that. Congratulations to her. That's kind of a fun thing we do, the picks, and we get a different student picker every week. It's always fun. So really glad we have students participate. Dean, final thoughts, 30 seconds to you.
So yeah, I just wanted to say this past Friday I was out at Rogers, got to tell a great story there about their turnaround. And as I was leaving, I just kind of looked back at the stadium and I said, hey, it's the end of the regular season. This is my first season ever covering high school football. So I just wanted to take this to thank all you guys, everybody, all the coaches, all the players who have been so welcoming. You guys have stuck with some of the growing pains and some of the story, everything that I've been able to do. So I just want to say thank you, and I can't wait for this next month. It's going to be great.
All right. Well, you can download us for free on Apple, Google, or Spotify. We come at you once a week, usually on Monday. So appreciate you checking us out. We've been talking all season. Dean has got some really great player interviews. He talked to Todd Drummond last week, so go check those out in the archives if you like really good interviews. And guys, we'll watch some playoff football on Friday night, and we'll catch back up next Monday.
Sounds good, Patrick.